All right, here we are, Pamela's Coffee Talk. I am so glad you guys are here. This is week 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this week's topic, we're going to be talking about two things, and they're both just as important as the other. Like one is just as important as the other, and they go together. So last week, remember, we talked about the different strategies and what that meant and choosing that strategy. So today is know your exit strategy. Okay, we really dove into those last week. So you got to know which one. Pick one. Okay. We talked about that buy box last week. This week, we're going to pick one. We're going to pick the exit strategy. We're not going to say just, I want to invest in a property. No, that's too broad. I just want to do any property between, I've gotten this so many times. I'm sorry. So between 150,000 and 2.5 million. No, no, no. Instantly, you're telling me you don't know what you're doing. Instantly, you're telling me you're brand new. Instantly, you're telling me that you're just desperate for anything and you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, if you're going to be investing hundreds of thousands of dollars, you better know your topic, right? You better know what's going on. So this week we're going to talk about choosing the exit strategy. Okay, what that means is, are we going to be doing a buy and hold? Are we just going to buy something and hold it for the next 10 years because we see progress in that area or we know about a highway going through and at some point that 5 acres is going to turn into some sort of complex for retail, or we know we're on a main drag and it's a house that is the area is turning over and that main drag is turning into all businesses. So we're going to buy up 2 or 3 houses, buy and hold. We may even rent them a little bit while we're holding, but we're going to buy and hold. That's the ultimate goal, right? And or are we going to fix and flip, right? Are we going to turn it over? Then we're going to talk about rehab, or we're going to talk about little nuances and niches. Not this week, another week. Um, or are we going to buy it and rent it out? Right. So that is a totally different rehab than to fix and flip. So all of those methods, all of those things are exit strategies. Okay. We want to know our exit strategy and then we can know our numbers better. Both of those things are really important. So we're going to talk about that this week. I'm going to attempt to share my screen with you guys. This one, I think. I'm hoping. Don't want to do that. Yes, this is it. All right. So this is this week's notes. I'm going to share my notes with you guys so that ideally we can follow along, but this is not the field guide, okay? The field guide, and if you didn't watch last week's video, please go watch that first. I'm going to put it up in the corner here, so right there, I guess. Um, I'm going to put it in the corner. Click that. Watch that first, ideally, because you got to know your buy box. Otherwise, you're not going to understand what I'm going to talk about with the numbers. And get your free field guide, right? What I'm showing you now is not the field guide. The field guide is like 10 or 12 pages. It's got worksheets. It really helps you to hone in on that buy box, really helps explain in detail that I cannot do here. So here I'm just giving you an overall, and then the field guide really dives into it. And I'm happy to announce this is week 5, and we're going to start pre-releasing a class come the end of week 6 because this is going to go for 12 weeks, but we're going to do a class, which is going to be a live class. We're going to go through actual homes and we're going to go through actual numbers and all kinds of that stuff. We're going to really implement what we've learned in these 6 weeks. Okay. So we're going to pre-release that. You can sign up for that. And if you have not connected with PamelaDeVrou.com or below in the comments, you'll see a way to sign up for weekly information. And within that, you can sign up for the class or just sign up to get information about investments. That's all free. So So anyway, let's get into it. So I have questions for you. You can see these right here. What is the property worth today? Okay, we want to know that. As is today, what's it worth? Not what they're selling it for. What is it worth? Big, big, big difference, right? So if you're looking at a property that has very outdated, the all of it, and sometimes those things have a little smell to them, right? And then and it's in an area that's starting to turn over, but not fully. Usually that's a really good place to start. But the sellers are wanting prices from 3 years ago in this, what was extremely hot market, seller's market. Prices were inflated. And so they want those prices, or they want the prices of a house that's already redone. I just spoke to a landlord that wanted to sell his house. I already know from his ex-wife that he's desperate to sell because he has some medical things going on and he's got to pay for the medical stuff. And he cannot do that by refinancing the home. Why? You and I, now that you've watched this, you and I know because the bank's not going to give him the same value as what the rehabbed house that was done in mint condition, same size, same year, same neighborhood, 2 blocks away, same everything. But that house was completely redone, brand new roof, opened up space, an extra bathroom, fenced in yard, everything, beautiful landscaping, painted outside. Like it was gorgeously done, right? Granite countertops, gorgeous head beams throughout. It is a beautiful home that's only 1,100 square feet. So in this neighborhood, that sold 6 months ago for 300,000 dead even. And he wants 300,000 because that was sold at 300,000. This house has got mold, outdated electrical problems, bad air conditioning unit, needs a new roof, has the ceiling falling in, and has a wavy floor. So when there's a wavy floor, that does not mean run. It does mean that you need to fix the foundation, meaning on a house that's older, we got to open up the floors, open up the subfloors, redo the beams underneath that house and make it straight and even, and then build it back up. So I know that sounds like it's something scary, but it's really not. I've done lots of them. Not me personally. I just know it needed to be done and I hired the right crew. And it is, it doesn't have to be something that is a throwaway or a runaway from the house. So many people, whether you're looking for a residential property or an investment property, go to that and they run away, but then they miss an opportunity of equity, of character, of no HOAs. Like it is a beautiful thing. So don't run away. We just need to assess it. That's all. That's all. So, um, yeah, that's the story. So now he's come down from 300,000 to 216. I offered generously 140,000. And I'll explain why in a little bit. I'll come back to it in a little bit. So he laughed at me and he has no mortgage on this thing, but he has buying and holding this thing for 30 years. So that's why he thinks it's worth so much. And to top it off, he tells me he's a real estate agent. So I get to talking to him and I find out he's not an agent anymore. He was an agent 12 years ago. Very, very, very different market, very different system. The contract is like 12 pages longer than it was then. It is a very, very different world now with real estate. But you know, he wanted to argue that price, and that was fine. I mean, I wasn't there to argue. I was there to present an offer for my client. And then he's come down, and I'm advising my clients to walk away. Technically, the house needs to be bulldozed. That's just my opinion, but there's $750,000 down the street. homes from bulldozing the little 1,100 square foot house. Okay, I digress. So, and I know that I'm on a time thing. So we want to talk about what is the value worth today? What is the value worth after we rehab? And then here's where it comes into the numbers. Now, it may look really good. It may look like, okay, it's worth 100 and it's really worth 120. My clients really love it, so they're willing to pay 140. I'm advising don't go over that. And the reason I'm doing that is because when I walked through their house, I said, you have at least 70 to $80,000 worth of repairs on this thing. And no bank is going to touch it. It needs a new roof and it needs a new subfloors, joists, the whole bit. Like it's got some of this going on in the floor. It's a 1940s house, so of course it does. They all do, right? The foundations were very different then. So, but nothing that can't be fixed. So in this case, they wanted to buy and live in it, but they wanted equity in it. They liked the area. They were already living in it. Big, big key right there. They were already living in it and they wanted to purchase it because a few blocks away, there are $500,000 townhomes going up. Buku, lots and lots and lots of three-story townhomes going up. Beautiful townhomes going up. And another couple blocks away, we've got government housing. So like it has all this different stuff. And then a couple more blocks away, it's got 750, $850,000 homes. So it is a good investment if you can get it for the right price. Over 200,000 is not the right price. It won't be enough equity for them. Once you get closing costs, taxes, all that good stuff, it's not, and all the rehab, it's just not worth it for them. So that's part of the numbers that you need to know. So when you find out the value, right, I've already covered that. Price is not the same as value. Start with your exit strategy. If they're talking about buying it, living it, so buy and hold, right? And hold long enough to flip that thing. So the rehab needs to be started with the end rehab in mind. So we're treating it like it's a buy and flip, right? We may not do all the rehab at once because they're going to live in it. In this case, right? That may be very different from your case. So this is where having a very, very knowledgeable real estate agent about investments. Let me tell you something. Almost all agents think they can do investments, and not all agents can do investments. I have very, very experienced agents hire me to be their agent so that we can do the investment parts of it. And the reason is because of what we're talking about today. This is the pivotal point. So if you're going to get any of my free information, sign up to today's stuff. It's down below. Okay. So once you know your exit strategy, then we're going to understand the value of the repair. So let's stick with my example. Let's stick with the example. So it's a buy and hold, but we're going to treat it as it's a buy and flip because the rehab they want to do will be rehab that ends up becoming something that is highly desirable for this neighborhood. So now there were a couple of questions when it came to that for me. How long are you planning on being in this house? It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Their idea was to turn it into a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, which is what the other house did that sold for 300,000. I said, okay, let's look at this a minute because you can rehab it out of a price point where investors are going to turn around and grab that thing. Or people are going to turn around and grab that thing. Okay, let me explain. If you're only going to be in it for a couple of years, long enough to be able to do all the rehabs and then turn around and flip it, then we got to try and predict. Nobody can predict what the market's going to do ever, ever, ever. Run like crazy if they tell you they can. But we got to try and take a look at the trends that are going on within the market. Is it going up? Is it coming down? Like what's happening with our government? What's happening with the housing market, the interest rates, any outside stuff that's happening? Like, I don't know, wars, and rumors of wars. Like, what is happening outside? Is it high inflation going on? Are there some laws about to be passed that are trying to be pushed through the Senate that's really going to give the housing market a break? So all of those things matter, right? And an investment agent is watching those things on the daily. I promise. They really are. So we want to look at that trend. And if it's only going to be a few years, that's a different plan than if you're going to be in it for 10. Right? If you're going to be in it for 10, I'm going to tell you this is not a true flip because 10 years from now, what a buyer is going to want is going to be different than what a buyer wants right now. One of the things that the landlord said is, well, we just redid that kitchen. When I looked at when they did it, it was 12 years ago. 12 years ago. Okay, this is not a farmhouse sink. It is granite countertops. The cabinets are terrible. There's leaks underneath the sink. The floor is all curvy. No way is this redone. So this is not a $300,000 house, Mr. Landlord. This is a rip that kitchen apart, rip down a wall or two. We're going to add a bathroom. Oh, the bathroom's like this big. We're going to open that up and we're going to add in another laundry part in a bigger bathroom across the hall or next to it. We're going to have a door going out the back instead of the side. All of this makes more sense, which means we're going to redo the entire inside. No, it's not a $300,000 house, right? So the landlord thought he was fixing it to flip it and then held on to it for 12 more years, thinking his rehab was good. Do you see my point? So it's not going to be good. So then we're just going to rehab it for you where you enjoy it, and that's it. We're not going to put extra into it. We're going to make it to where you enjoy it because you're going to live in it a little while for 10 years. And then at that point, we'll decide what we tweak in order to sell it with where the market is. Okay. Again, your exit strategy matters. It always matters. Okay. There's a lot of places out there that want to calculate the renovation cost. They'll say things like, oh, a bathroom is $7,000. In what world? Like, what are we talking about right now? Um, there's some things when it comes to the renovations that obviously a roof needs to be good. And if that just means reshingling it to save some dollars, great. If the boards underneath are fine, then we're not going to worry about it. We're going to rip off those shingles. If there's a board or two that's kind of warped or slightly rotten or whatever, we're going to quickly fix that one or two board. We're not going to rip off the whole roof and then put in a whole new roof. A lot of times roofing companies, no offense, roofing companies, I'm still your friend. Okay, roofing companies will say, hey, we need to do the whole thing, when really we just need to reshingle it and give it a new warranty. Yeah, I mean it. It's true. Um, if you have a roofing company coming in, have your investment agent come talk to you and the roofing company. It matters. I do roofs with my stuff all the time. And we're going to save money where we can. And I'm going to do the rehab with integrity. Okay, we're not going to cut corners constantly and make it cheap, cheap, cheap. This is where I fired some clients. They didn't want to do what I was saying to do. And like, I don't know, pull a permit. I'm not putting my name on something that isn't being pulled. I am not going to work with someone who wants to lie, cheat, and steal. So, and a lot of those rehabs out there are like that. They're cutting corners everywhere to save a dollar or two and at the expense of to save their profit, but at the expense of the buyer. And once the walls are up, you'd have no way of knowing. right? So we really want to know, how much does it cost to get that permit? Is that second bathroom really worth it? Probably not. Probably not. Is opening the walls of the bathroom all probably worth it? Yeah, probably make it a little bigger. Connect it to a bedroom. Whatever we need to do in that part. Connect a walk-in closet to it. Yeah, I had a beautiful rehab. That's what we did. There was a bathroom already there. It was a shower, and it was a very small bathroom. It was a shower and a toilet and a small sink. We knocked down a couple of walls, closed in the closet. The closet came from the bathroom. We moved the door of the bathroom over, and instead of a tiny little shower, we put in a bigger shower and a two sink vanity. And then when you walked in, it was a sliding barn door. It was beautiful. When you walked in, it had a gorgeous light. When you walked in, the closet was over here and the bathroom was over there, and it was gorgeous. And there was only one door on that wall instead of two. And it wasn't an outdated bathroom. It was stunning, absolutely stunning. So, did we need to move any of those pipes? No. We did add an extra sink. We did do that. But otherwise, all we did was open it up. hmm And then we sheetrocked in the door to the closet and changed, just moved for the door from here to over to here to the side going into the bathroom. All right, where are we at? I want to make sure that I'm overtime. I'm always overtime. Okay. When you sign up for the class, we'll be able to dive in further with numbers and details and more screen sharing and all that good stuff. So, getting the close as possible numbers is very, very important because you do not want to go over budget. You want to stay tight to the budget. And with those numbers, I talked about this last week in the buy box. With those numbers, you want to add in some contingency. If the market shifts, there's 10 or 15%. If the budget goes over, there's another 10%. So we want to add in that 20 to 25% when we're making our offers, when we're looking at our repairs, and we want to price out some stuff. But when you're flipping, not renting, not buy and hold, but when you're flipping that for that home, you want to have one or two things, small little details that just go, wow, they pop. Ideally, when you walk into the door, what's happening at that door and what's happening just inside that door. This is where I love head beams that are exposed. This is where I love some special tiles or a door that becomes rounded instead of squared like normal. Yeah, we want some, or maybe some corbels that go in there. We want some sort of detail that makes it unique, special, theirs. This is the difference between new construction, which is cookie cutter, and HOA and high expenses after closing, and taking a house that is tired and dated, and maybe some things are outdated, fixing it before you move in, and then closing on it and having equity. Okay, know your numbers, know your exit strategy. There is a field guide beginning that is going to be free down below. Sign up, sign up, sign up. You'll get lots and lots of information from me through emails and through my website, PamelaDeVrou.com. Um, One last thing, costs that people forget. Well, that's going to be in the field guide. Jump in the field guide for it. Yeah, HOA dues, attorney title costs, um, interest, any back stuff. Whew, we need to get into that. I'll put that in the field guide. Sometimes there's liens on the property that you don't really find until last minute. Yeah, we need to make sure that we know what those liens are. Okay. Mechanic liens are a big one. A big one. My son's almost a GC, probably is by the time this comes out, and he just put a mechanic's lien on someone. Yep, $5,600. So when that someone goes to close, it will be a problem. Yeah. So we want to know what liens are on there. Do they owe back taxes? That kind of stuff. Okay. This is all gonna be in the field guide. Understand your core measurements, cash on return, equity. I just feel bad. I haven't gotten into all this. Run more than one scenario. Like, yeah, this looks like a good fit, fix and flip, but if the market suddenly shifts, which it can right now, promise you, it can right now. There's too much volatile stuff out there. So, does it also work as a good buy and hold? Does it also work as a good rental property? We've had to turn fix and flips into rentals. They weren't selling quite the way they needed to, and rehabs cost more than they should have. Okay, once they dug in. It was a property that I told them not to get, so I'm just putting that out there. Yeah, in the past, I would go with it. I don't anymore. Yeah, if you're not gonna be a teammate, a partner in this, then we don't need to be working together. All right, guys, we're gonna talk to you later about this. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button, sign up. We have lots and lots of real estate stuff along with investments. Bye for now.